prestigious academic institutions throughout the world, throughout the West and elsewhere, have statistically verified that people who attend spiritual support groups who've been diagnosed with a life-challenging illness, who attend spiritual support groups, take part in some psychological, spiritual, emotional healing work, live on average twice as long after diagnosis. There has been a complete revolution in thinking and mainstream consciousness as the holistic paradigm has set in medicine. And we know that you don't just wait till symptoms emerge, treat them allopathically, you work preventatively. You know that health is not just the absence of sickness, it is a positive state to be proactively created and maintained. What I am seeing today in my country, not yet publicly, but behind closed doors. I'm not yet seeing it spoken to cameras. I'm not yet seeing it spoken when the microphone is on, but I'm seeing it behind closed doors, and I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it is exactly what I used to see with Western doctors. I see people look, there is fear in their eyes. There is a new humility. There's a real sense that we have played all our cards. We don't know what to do now. What do you got? And so you don't wait till someone invites you for your ideas. You get your ideas down, and we must now realize that, at least in my country, not in every country, but in my country, and this is why we need a Department of Peace, the approach to problem solving, the approach to political and social dis-ease is totally and completely, for the most part, allopathic. They wait till there's an eruption of violence, and if it's domestic, they put somebody in prison, and if it's international, they try to invade somebody. And even with terrorism, you know, if you look at World War II, you look at the phenomenon of Hitler and the Nazis, you look at the phenomenon of the Imperial Army of Japan at that time, they could be likened to cancerous tumors that could be and were surgically removed. But terrorism is more like a cancer that has already metastasized throughout the body. And when it comes to Iraq, the feeling of the majority of Americans now is not only that not every cancer can be surgically removed, but some cancers you're better off leaving alone, because if you go in there and take invasive measures, you're liable to spread more cancer than there was before. And that is why, when it comes to healing modalities in politics now, we are, and this conference is an example of the holistic revolution, where we realize that you don't just treat, as you must sometimes, short-term, you use allopathic measures, but you must deal with psychological and spiritual and emotional issues that have to do with preventing the dis-ease to begin with, and certainly having to do with dismantling the mechanisms that keep it in place. And to me, in my country and in every, having heard all the panelists today, this is clearly the crux of what's going on all around the world with the establishments of the Department of Peace. What we are talking about is giving institutional heft to this worldview, giving an institutional governmental platform not only to this view of healing social and political dis-ease, but also to the extraordinary expertise that exists all over the world. People who do know what to do, who simply need funding, who do know how to help, who simply need the resources. When you look at a country like mine, where $400 billion a year are spent on military-related defense expenditures. And the Department of Peace, I don't know how it is in the other countries, but in the United States, the bill as it currently exists calls for just 2% of whatever that amount would be.